Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Agency Protocols podcast. My name is MJ. I'm your host, and today I have Cruz Ibaraa. Cruz is the founder of GFN Media, which is an email marketing agency that helps e-commerce brand fix their retention strategy through email marketing and SMS. Cruz, thank you for taking the time to hop on this call, brother. How's everything on your end?
Dude, it's fantastic, man. It's finally great to finally speak to you. We've exchanged a few DMs here and there, but it's awesome to like actually get to talk to you now.
For sure, man. Yeah. I think we've like known each other for maybe a year and a half, but like this is the first
Yeah,
time that we
yeah.
actually spoke. So yeah, man, really appreciate you getting on this call. This is obviously episode 2 for anyone listening. So this is very new for me. I don't know if you've did any podcasts in the past, but I think regardless, we'll definitely be able to give the audience some great value.
Yeah, so this is actually the first time that I'm on a podcast, so I think it's a first
Nice.
for all of
Okay.
us.
Okay, awesome. So, Cruz, let's start with telling us a little bit about who you are exactly and GNF Media and exactly what it is that you guys do.
So, GFN Media, we started off as a advertisement agency. We did this for about, I want to say 2 years until we finally kind of really seen the value that we could bring by offering clients a really solid retention strategy
Mm.
that and help generate thousands in monthly recurring revenue. And on top of that, I think the biggest contributor to making the shift and the rebranding was the fact that we just kind of got tired of dealing with like bad Facebook reps. We just had one too many accidents, and honestly, it was just like not really good for mental health for me and my team. So we decided to rebrand ourselves into only offering email marketing, and it's been great since, man.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, it's funny. We actually just started offering email marketing as a service at the agency, and I got to tell you, bro, it's so much different in the
It's
sense that with Facebook ads you have to like spend money to acquire a client, and an ad can not perform too great, or the customer's going to tell you, well, I spent $2,000, you only generated me 4,000. With email marketing, it's essentially like free money in the sense that all you got to do is send out an email to get people to come back and make a purchase. So it's interesting that you made that switch, and I have a few questions for you personally, because we just started offering this again, like as an actual service a couple months ago. So
mhm.
I'm really excited to ask you those questions and exactly see like your system and processes and how you go about that. So that's interesting. So you guys were offering Facebook ads, but then did you guys happen to switch when iOS 14 came out? Was
So
it around that time?
we were still running ads for like another solid like 8 months with a few
Mm-hmm.
clients, and on like the side that we were offering email marketing for one particular client just to kind of like test the water, see what it was. So we were still working through iOS, but our one of our some of our clients really kind of took a hit when it came
Mm-hmm.
to the results.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like it just got complicated working with the clients that we're already working with, and they were just really hard to deal with. So we just told them, look, I think it's best that it just doesn't work for your business anymore. It worked for
Yeah.
some of our clients, it worked for others, and before like iOS 14.5 came out, you can test out different things like the headline, the copy, different audiences, and after the update came out, it was really dependent on your creatives, and some of the clients just
100%.
really couldn't
Yeah.
keep up with that. Like
Yeah.
we'd spend like 3 weeks telling them like, hey, have you came up with like more content for us to test? And they'd be like, oh, like we're really busy. So I think just kind of that back and forth of like telling clients like, hey, we need this from you, and them not giving it to us, just became really stressful. And with like email marketing, it's like we take the assets that they've already kind of like given us, and we've been able to really do our work like we're supposed to. And I feel like that was like one of the major like sort of like moments that we just felt, honestly, like these clients are preventing us from doing the work, and then they kind of blame us for not getting the results that they want.
Yeah.
And like I
Yeah.
always tell the clients like, hey, look, like, but at the end of the day, like we're marketers, we're not magicians, we're not going to make magic happen out of thin air. Like it's not going to happen. So yeah, it really affected us in like not a huge way, but enough so where we kind of reconsidered our service.
Bro, I
But it
mean,
just
I was gonna say much respect, man, because what you essentially did is you pivoted. You pivoted from Facebook ads, something that wasn't working, at least probably with the current clients that you're working with, to more email marketing, where it's basically like image based. If as long as they have like images, you're able to make them look a little bit better, and use email
Mhm.
to actually generate them more revenue. To your point, it's what you're saying is 100% true. So what we did at the agency was we started offering this service where we're basically consulting our clients on the kind of creatives that work best. And even with that, bro, even with that, we still have clients that, wouldn't have the creatives on time or don't want to spend money into influencers to actually get them, better creatives. So I know for sure exactly like what you mean by this problem. And I think it's amazing that you guys pivoted, because at that point, what one would do is just give up on social media marketing and think that it's not worth it. So I like the fact that you guys pivoted. Let me ask you this, Cruz, if you can take us back to when you first got started. How did you stumble across SMMA, and how did all that go about?
Ah, dude, man. So I ran into it first when I was like 17. It was like 2017.
How old are you
We
right
had
now?
this 23. So
23.
it's
Wow.
is
Okay.
yeah.
Very young. Mhm.
So during this time is in high school, they were asking us like, what do you guys want to be in college? Like, what are you gonna go to? And like, what do you want to be when you grow up, essentially? And I was like, damn, like I really don't want to like work a job. So I Googled how to make money online. And that's when I fell into the rabbit hole of like drop shipping, affiliate marketing, Amazon, FBA, and all these other like things. And SMMA was one of them. But I
Mhm.
left that one to the last one because like it wasn't as attractive in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't as appealing. So um, I did everything first before I did SMMA. So I tried drop shipping, I tried affiliate marketing, and it wasn't until like my second year in college, right before COVID happened, that I decided to buy my first course. And then I didn't take it serious for a couple months, and then COVID happened, so we weren't able to go back to class. And that's when I just kind of decided to make the leap, and like I stopped attending classes and I started working on my agency and landed my first client, and then I completely stopped going to school, and it's just like been kind of like going up from there.
Wow, bro. That yeah, that's I think that's how a lot of us start. We stumble across it. At least a lot of the people that I've known in my circle and even your circle, because we have a few friends, within the same circle, and I think most of them stumbled on it that way. It's not something that you just woke up and you're like, I'm gonna start a social media marketing agency. You kind of got introduced to it through some other mean, which is a perfect pivot point. I wanted to ask you, if you had to start all over again, would you still do SMA, or would you do, Amazon FBA, drop shipping, affiliate marketing, all these different make money online spaces, and why exactly?
So I would do SMMA every time. Like if I had to do it 100 times over again, I'd always choose SMMA because at the end of it, SMMA or like being an agency owner or email marketing, Facebook ads marketing, like it's an actual skill that you
Mhm.
developed. It's an actual it may not seem like it, but it's a career. It's something that you actually have to put in work, and everything like affiliate marketing, Facebook, no, affiliate marketing, drop
Amazon
shipping,
FBA.
Amazon
Yeah.
FBA, like all of these, the way that they make it seem online, like all the gurus, is like, oh, you don't have to know anything. Oh, you only have to work like 2 hours a week. And that's what it gets a lot of people. And like a lot of people kind of turn away from SMA because it's like, oh, you actually have to put in work to
Yeah.
get results, and people don't want to do that. So it's one of those things where it's like you feel the actual fulfillment a part of like getting the results. So it's a huge factor for me is feeling fulfilled with the work that I'm putting out there to the clients that I work with, and I would 100% choose this over like any other thing online, man.
Likewise, bro. I mean, if I was to do it, I would I would do SMA all over again for the many reasons, like you said. But I think one of the main things is that, like you said, this is a skill that you're going to have. Now with Amazon FBA, with print on demand, drop shipping, with all these different things, you still need to learn how to actually advertise, whether that be email marketing, whether that be Facebook ads or any ad platform. So you still need to understand how to actually run ads on these platforms, or how to send emails and get people to buy your product. And at the same time, if you really think about it from like how much money you can make, because I've done Amazon FBA, I've done drop shipping, and the amount of money that you have after everything, after ad spend, after buying the product, selling the product, fulfilling this, all these different things, the margins are very low compared to SMMA. With SMA, it's basically 100% profit margins, right, outside of whoever you have to pay. So I personally would, like you said, I would do SMA all over again. I think it's the best thing that you can get into. And if you think about it, it's a cash cow, right? It's a cash generating machine. That's really what it is. If you want to start drop shipping afterwards, you want to start your own brand, SMA can provide you that, in the sense that it'll generate you some money, and then you can decide to do whatever you want to do with your money. And I agree with you. I think the biggest mistake that a lot of people have is that they start with these different businesses, drop shipping, Amazon FBA. They spend the few thousands of dollars that they have, and then they put themselves in a rut. So wherein with SMA, you can essentially start for free.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. It's like it's one of those things that you don't have to invest like 10K to get started. You really don't.
For sure.
Like a lot of people always ask me like, what's the best resources, or like how can you get started with like email marketing? It's like, dude, sign up to a bunch of newsletters, recreate these emails on your own, and then just like offer this service to clients. Like it's really like, as long as you have a laptop and internet, dude, like you can start for free, and you can continue to like jab at it, and you can continue to keep trying and trying month after month of like not getting results, until you do for free, without risking like you like run out of investment money, right? Like with drop shipping,
100%.
like I started drop shipping in high school. I created this like very terrible website, and like I had like, I don't know, like $400 in my bank account. I was like, okay, like I only have $100 to invest, and then they tell you like you need $30 a day to like make Facebook ads, like at least get some results. And it's like, you're limiting your chance of success based off of how much income you have currently 100%. To invest.
Yes.
And with SMMA, like you don't have that sort of like barrier, you don't have that sort of restriction. You can continue to try. You can have a second job to fund your current life, to pay for bills, to pay for food, while trying SMMA for free. I think that's what's like the best part. And it's like more beginner friendly. Like you can do this stuff for free until you succeed.
Bro, beautifully said, man. I mean, I asked you the question, if you would go back, would you do it? And you said you would do SMA all over again, and I would do the same thing too. And it's funny, we both did not start with SMA. We both fell into drop shipping and all these other businesses, because like you said, it's more glamorous, right? You see all these people having their own stores and all this, where in SMA it's like you're sitting at home and sending out emails, or you're doing ads. So it's not as glamorous, but it is the most profitable. You can fail for money months, without, financially wrecking yourself. So I think, I think that's the best way for anyone listening, is to start with SMA, because it's definitely something that you can start with $0. And you can fail as much as you fail without essentially financially wrecking yourself. Right now you're doing, I think you said you were doing around 10 to 15K a month at your agency, Cruz. So I want to ask you, what is the perks of having a six-figure agency? I know you're very young. I mean, right? Like you said you started, when you were in high school, or when you were graduating high school. But what have been the perks of, having a business like this?
So apart from like getting to meet a bunch of really great business owners, having a six-figure agency at this point, it's like you kind of get to vet who you work with. You get to choose who you work with, and you have that sort of freedom to like, turn people down, right? Like there's some people that are just really not good people to work with, and you can turn them down. And apart from that, you meet some really cool like brands, really cool companies, and essentially some of these people like tend to become your friends, right?
Yeah,
They send you products, they keep up with you. Like one of this guy that I worked with like 2 years ago, I'm not partnering up with, and we're like starting our own company. And this is
Mhm.
only possible because of the work that we did for him.
Yeah,
And this
yeah,
is only possible for because, like you meet these really cool people, and it's just like it gives you just so many more opportunities. And like how you said it, SMMA became your cash cow to fund these other things, to fund these other companies, these other passion projects. And I think that's one of the biggest perks of having a six-figure agency is the really high profit margins that gives you the ability to do these things for fun. And if you fail, you fail, but it's not going to damage you.
yeah. Beautifully said, bro. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm really interested in learning more about, what it is that you plan on, starting with your friend. But we'll obviously leave that for another conversation. So for anyone listening to this, I should have mentioned this in the beginning. Ideally, the way I wanted to structure this podcast was first start with understanding who Cruz is, and then talk about agency questions related to the agency, questions that I think that I would have for Cruz, but also anyone starting out, and then lastly ask questions from the client's perspective. So right now we have a few questions, Cruz, that I want to ask you from the agency perspective, which is, let's say someone is watching this podcast right now, they stumbled on it, and they're like, okay, I want to start an agency like Cruz, doing email marketing, SMS, or even paid ads. But I have no experience. I've never pitched a business owner before. I don't know how to send an email or do paid ads, but this is something that I want to get into for all the reasons that you just listed. What would be your advice for them to go ahead and get into social media marketing?
So first thing that I would like if I had to like start over all over again, the first thing that I feel like would be most important is get a skill, develop a skill, become good at it. That way you can actually offer this to a business owner.
Hmm.
It can be a competitive market, but if you stand out in this competitive market, it won't be. So first thing I would do is if someone wanted to get into email marketing or SMS or paid ads, is understand the service that you're providing, because a lot of people are not doing that, and they
Mhm.
feel like they're just kind of like they just kind of have to go out and be like, hey, we offer this this service at this price. And like people get pitched at a lot. So if you understand your service and you're actually really good at your service, that's a really good way to stand out from everyone that is pitching to these business owners. But more specifically for email marketing, if anyone wants to start an email marketing, is get good at emails. Like I said, sign up to create a capture email. So create a like spam email, sign
Mhm.
up to a bunch of newsletters, a bunch of companies that you like, and then recreate them on your own. That way you
Mhm.
get good and get an eye for email marketing. And then create some designs for some companies and offer them like, hey, look, this is I seen that you can improve your email marketing. Here's what I can do for you. I made this for you. You can take it if you want. And a lot of the times, companies really appreciate that. But I think like the biggest thing is just take action. A lot of people feel very uncomfortable to do anything. A lot of people feel very uncomfortable to get put into the position of speaking with business owners. And the only way that you're gonna get good at something is by actually doing it. There's no perfect time to start. You're gonna have terrible sales calls. You're gonna have terrible meetings with, companies. And the only way you can get good at it is to just start. And I think that was like the biggest thing that uh, affected me, is I was nervous. Like I
Yep.
did not want to like waste these leads. I did not want to send out these terrible emails, so I wouldn't. And oftentimes like it's not going to get you anywhere. You miss every shot you don't take. Like
Yep.
you just kind of have to like do it, man. Like
50% of the battle. I've heard Grant Cardone said this. I don't know if this is his quote, but 50% of the battle is just showing up, bro. So it's like,
exactly.
get started. Just get started. That's very true. I remember when I started pitching clients, I'm like, oh, this video doesn't look too good. I'm gonna redo it, and then I redo it 2 takes, and then I just give up and we'll leave it off for another week. It's just like, get
Hmm.
started, right? Just begin. Obviously first time starting, it's not going to be the best. Maybe this podcast, I'm going to laugh at it, like looking back at it, I'm going to laugh and say, oh my god, I could have done so many things better. But the point is to just get started. So I agree with you 100%. Let me ask you this. Let's go a step further. Like, what resources? So okay, someone is looking to get into email marketing, they're going to go ahead and get started. they're sign up to some newsletters. They'll pitch a few clients and show them, hey, you're not doing email marketing, here's what we can do for you. But what resources would you recommend for them as well? Whether that's people online on YouTube that teach email marketing, Klaviyo marketing, or there's a website called meal.com that I recently found out about, and I think it's a game changer. But is there any other resources that you could provide people listening that would help them, Cruz?
So funny enough, like most of my learning came off of Twitter. Like I learned,
Wow.
yeah, so I learned email marketing solely off Twitter. Like I started with Chase Diamond on Twitter,
Yes, Chase.
or Dimon or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just like read through a bunch of his like pinned tweets, a bunch of his threads and stuff like that, and really just surrounded myself with all this information. And then I followed a bunch of email marketing guys on Twitter, and I just started implementing that like right away. Like I started implementing it, and the moment I did, like I said, so before I took email marketing seriously, I was already doing email for one particular client, but it wasn't like nothing major. Like I was just like, okay, send out this email here and there, but I never took it seriously, so I never seen the potential. And then once I got onto Twitter and I started actually implementing this and doing all the things that they spoke about in there, like the service just like got so much more better. And I was like, holy shit, like I can
Wow.
make like this really improve my service. It's easy. It's not easy, but it's like it's less stressful than Facebook for us. And like I can redo this for a bunch of other people.
Wow.
So just start off on Twitter, follow a bunch of email marketing people, and then just start implementing it. Like there's so much value out there. Like there's so many people out there giving just like little nuggets for free. Get started on there, and like it's just it's insane how much value I've gotten from it.
You're the I had a interview with Jordan last week, and he told me, he was like, you need to get on Twitter, man. He was like, Twitter is where it's at, like especially like for the agency and growth partner space. So you're the second person that mentioned Twitter. So I recently created an account. To be honest, I haven't been on it too much, but I never really thought these people congregate to Twitter. Like I know Chase, and he's one of the best email marketers out there. But apparently, even people in the social media marketing space, they're on there providing value. So yeah, that's huge. But you're the second person that has said Twitter, that
Dude,
there's a lot of
it's
value on there.
insane how much value there is out there. Like I said, all of the learning I did off email marketing, like I didn't pay someone to teach me. I learned completely off of Twitter. And because of that, like it's kind of crazy to think that like I went to university for 2 years for business, right? And then I dropped out, and I made more money because of Twitter than I would have ever made.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Like university. Like it's insane to
Really
think about
insane.
how much
Yeah.
like there's so many resources out there. It's endless. Like
For
you go, yeah.
For
You
sure.
need to get on Twitter, man.
So Twitter, yeah. So by the way, we're gonna have both of our Twitter handles here. So if anyone's listening to this, definitely give me and Cruz a follow on Twitter. But yeah, man, Twitter. So like I said, you're the second person that has mentioned this. I would have thought you would have said like YouTube, because obviously like anyone wants to learn something, they go to YouTube, and I'm sure there's stuff on YouTube that people can learn. But yeah, Twitter. I mean, definitely. I think
You
it's a good
YouTube
place
is
to.
great. The issue with YouTube is people try to monetize their content.
Yeah.
So they
Okay.
drag it out for like an 8 to 9, 10 minute
Makes
video.
sense. Wow.
And in
Okay.
Twitter, it's just like it's like short because you have a character limit.
Yes.
So it's
a
just like
thread.
what you would learn in 10 minutes, you read from 1 minute reading like their Twitter
Wow.
handle. And then you have like already information that like it's written down in paper instead of like not in paper, but like it's written down for you. So you can bookmark it, you can screenshot it.
Nice.
So you don't need to like transfer
Mm.
that content off of YouTube onto like a pen and paper because it's already out there for you. So everyone
Wow.
on Twitter has done the hard work for you. You just simply like, take that information in and save it. And it's so much more efficient than YouTube. YouTube is great, but Twitter is much more efficient.
That makes sense, man. YouTube, like you said, people are gonna try to create a 10-minute video, monetize it, make it as long as possible, and drag out the information. But with Twitter, it's essentially like a summary of a book. It just gives you the whole summary.
Exactly.
So that's really interesting. Thank you for that, bro, because that definitely benefits me personally as well. Yeah. So Twitter. Okay. Next question I have here for you, Cruz, is what systems and processes have you implemented at your agency to help, with your operations? I'll give you, this is more a selfish question. This is something that I personally want to know because I think it'll help us at the agency. But I'll give you an example with how we're going about setting up our email marketing campaign. So we created inside Google spreadsheet what's called a digital marketing calendar. Within this digital marketing calendar, let's say we're in the month of March, we'll have March 1st all the way to March 30th. And then each day, we will have, well, first of all, we'll have multiple tabs. We'll have a promotion tab, like what is what are we promoting on this specific day? We'll have a tab for the hero banner. We'll have a tab where the client can go in and approve the actual template. We'll have a tab for the graphic designer to go ahead and put together the actual creatives and then post that link there, amongst many other things like different channels. Are we doing this on SMS? Are we just doing it in email? Are we integrating like the loyalty program within this email? So I've put together this sheet and I think it's great, but this is, I haven't seen, I haven't asked anybody who's an email marketer, like what else are they doing for this? So I've put this sheet together and I think it's working great for us. It helps with like the back and forth. But I wanted to ask you, like, what systems are you guys putting in place to help the back and forth, the approval, this needs to be done, the giving the stuff to the graphic designer, and then maybe you have someone who's sending out the email. So how does all that come together from an operations perspective?
So for us, because this is fairly new to us still, I haven't been able to fully streamline it just yet. It's something that I do struggle with, is like the back and forth. It's like, can you change this? Can you change that? Sending the rough draft to the client, then giving it back to us. So I haven't fully streamlined it yet, but between me and my team, we've been able to streamline it because of Notion. So on Notion, I created I have a client profile, right? So we have like our clients that we're working with, and under each name, we have a separate page. Do you use use Notion, by the way?
I used it for 2 weeks and then I stopped. Just because I did not, like, it was the first time using it, but no, I used it for literally 2 weeks and I stopped.
Okay. Well, I'll share mine with you after the podcast. But
For sure.
so we have like our client profiles on who we're working with, and then a little bit of information about them, and then we have a calendar that when you click on it, it'll take you to a separate page, and then in there it'll have like a monthly view of like what's happening. So between me and the people that are working with me, like my designer, my copywriter, like we've been able to streamline it because it's all there, and they can all see like, okay, what's been approved, what hasn't been approved, what changes need to be made. But the communication between me and my client is where like kind of we're slacking on a bit, because it's like a lot of back and forth on Slack. So I've been kind of finding ways to streamline it that way, because I don't want to give like my client access to some of the things like my Notions page, because like what if they like go to places they're not supposed to. So we're still trying to find a way to streamline the communications between our clients and our team.
Wow, man. So I mean, so two things. So it seems like you have it streamlined. The only thing is just the communication between you and the client. And even if we're doing Facebook ads or anything, there's going to be some back and forth communication. Client likes this, but they want, certain things changed. So I think with that, regardless of how streamlined you make it, there's still going to be some back and forth. It's just the nature of, the client and, working with someone else. But the second thing I wanted to mention was that now that I think about it, I'm like, Notion is built for this main reason. Like I'm using a spreadsheet, and I'm, adding all these different data validations and conditional formatting and changing like the colors to, different statuses. And I remember when I was using Notion, you also get a calendar as well. So like, I think Notion, it sounds like Notion, that's literally what Notion is built for, is to streamline, this process amongst many other things.
So Notion for us, there's just so much things that you can do to it, and I'm a very visual person. Like I need to see things visually and have it laid out in front of me for it to make sense. And with Notion, you're just able to like just make so much more changes, and then it really depends on how creative you are, and that's how like kind of limited you are. So we've been able to streamline it for our agency and for our teammates, to make Notion work for us. It did take like a little bit of like
It's a learning
Like
curve, I
work
think.
upfront work, yeah, a little bit of learning curve, a little bit of upfront work to like set it up.
Yep.
But we found it's just a way for it to work for us.
Wow, I might have to get back to it because right now I'm using ClickUp, and I'm using ClickUp for my graphics team. So the people that edit this podcast, the reels, like anything on my
Mm,
personal brand, that's what we use. And it's pretty straightforward. You put the task, you can add subtasks, you have different statuses. But Notion, when I got in there, like I used it for like I wouldn't even think it was 2 weeks, but I got discouraged. Like the learning curve, I was like, it's not something that I want to learn.
yeah,
I'll go to
yeah,
something
yeah.
simpler. But if it makes sense, if it's better than, if it can help streamline all of this, I have no issue of learning it. So it seems like it's working great for you guys.
And I tried to click up for a bit, and then I think I did I tried it for like an evening because like in the evenings I like doing research on like different softwares that can help us improve. And I signed up for ClickUp for like the free trial, and I did it for an evening, and then I just never like came back to it. I don't know.
Yeah, I personally like it for the simplicity, bro. Like you can be a total, like I don't want to say idiot, but like you can not know, you can, it's very simple. For me, it's like I put a task, I put a subtask, we have different folders. And then my graphics team, but I only use it for my graphics team. For email marketing,
Mhm.
I would not be able to use it for email marketing because there's so many different like variables
Moving,
when it
yeah, so
comes to
many more
like email
moving
marketing.
parts.
This is why, like you said, Notion, it makes sense. Notion definitely would be a better option. So maybe maybe I could take a look at what you guys got going on. I think I think it's definitely I need to find a solution. But like I said, I used Google Spreadsheet, and although it is great, there's still some like gray areas that is not 100% streamlined. So,
Hmm.
but thank you for sharing that. I really would be interested in taking a look at that. Hopefully, after this call, I feel bad for the people that won't get to take a look at it, but we can't reveal all the secrets, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so another question I had for you, Cruz, is what is the one challenge that you're facing at your agency, and how are you how do you plan on overcoming it? So any
So
challenge within the agency.
yeah, so right now, like I said, the biggest challenge is the communication part. So we
Mm-hmm.
have some of it streamlined, but it's like we're fairly still new to email marketing
Mm-hmm.
as a sort of agency. We got the delivery on check. Like our results are freaking great, but it's just like there's like so many moving parts that we haven't been able to kind of like organize it in a way that is streamlined, and it's just kind of like right now we're just kind of like getting stuff done as it goes, and it's all over the place. It's not really optimized, and I think the biggest thing is, like I said, communications with the client is how can we
Wow.
make it so that they can check in whenever they want to
Mm-hmm.
see like whether it's design copies, they can leave comments, and then we can just kind of like go in and um make these changes, let the clients know like, hey, update is good, go check it out, and then they go leave more comments, right? So
Yeah.
a few ways that I'm kind of like looking into is maybe like I think Zapier makes like these like sort of like connections
Mm.
between softwares and makes
Yep.
automations.
Yeah.
So we're looking into maybe creating like um connecting like the softwares that we use and like creating notifications that they send on Slack automatically, like
Mm-hmm.
with the click of a button, so we don't have to like do these like not so important tasks that take much time out of our day.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And like things like ClickUp, like incorporating our team into ClickUp, or Monday.com or some other software that allows our team to be more centralized. Notion is good, but Notion doesn't have every single solution.
Mm-hmm.
So like just incorporating all of these softwares into one ecosystem is, I think, what's going to really just help us and streamline our business.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, it seems that that's definitely important, and it seems like you have a plan for it. I think it's just a matter of trial and error. Like you said, you
Hmm.
guys are fairly new, rebranding, starting with email marketing. So it's just a matter of like trial and error and seeing exactly, what works. I wonder if this is probably something that you've already tried out, but is it possible to have the client only see specific pages, maybe like within Notion? That way they don't get to see like everything that your whole Notion account. Is that an
Yeah,
option?
I think it's possible by like sharing or inviting people.
Hmm.
Um, but
Still
when it
doesn't
comes to
solve the
like,
communication problem, right?
yeah, well, the issue for us is like we have our design somewhere on one of our softwares. We use Be Free or Be Pro. Um, and it's like kind of like instead of like downloading the file, uploading the file to Notion, and then letting our clients know like, hey, it's on here, or just sending the file through Slack, and then them kind of like having to zoom in. Like it'd be so much more better if they can like go to like this one designated space
Hmm.
that they can like view their current projects at hand and then make comments. And that's kind of like where we're working at. So instead of like doing all these like steps in between to just get them the design or the rough draft or the copy, that they can just kind of go to this one centralized location where they can um like make changes or make comments, and it leaves us as the middleman out of it. Like we just work on other stuff instead of like having to uh you know follow up with them, or do all these like really just tedious tasks in between.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense, man. I guess it's just wrapping everything together and and streamlining it. Um, I think that's really what it comes down to. And especially with like email marketing, there's a lot of like approvals that need to go back and forth. You have perhaps maybe it could be like the copy, it could be the subject line, the preview text, it could be the actual creative. Wherein with Facebook ads, I guess it's there's really not too much approval. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see like how that turns out for you, because I think that would be able to help us, because like I said, right now we're doing Google spreadsheet, and we need to like wrap everything. Like maybe there's perhaps it's a $1 million idea, having a
Yeah,
platform that like combines all of this together, if there isn't one already.
yeah, that'd be, honestly, I feel like if I just can't find anything that really works for us, I mean, because of SMMA, I'd be able to fund and create my own
Correct.
SaaS
Yeah,
that can
for
offer
sure.
this solution between clients and agencies.
For sure. I mean, look at Iman Gaji, who, we both, are in one of his programs. He started, what is it, agency? Forgot
Navigator,
the, no,
something
the
like
the
no,
software, the software. Oh man, what is the software name? Oh, I
it's
wonder if,
agency something.
yeah, I forgot the name. I blanked out. But I wonder if that software is the solution to
It could
this.
be, it
Yeah.
could be.
Excuse me. So I know for sure that software, it's more so like the contracts, it replaces Slack, it replaces like the contracts, it's all everything in one place. But I think what you and I are talking about is more stuff on like the service delivery, the
Mhm.
approvals, the going back and forth. But yes, he does have a software, and the reason I brought that up is because of SMA. He's able to start a software. So this is the beauty about social media marketing. Starting a social media marketing agency is that it literally will provide you the cash flow for you to go ahead and invest or start another company if you want to. Where in a lot of these other businesses, they eat into those profit margins. Um,
Exactly.
yeah. So right now, Cruz, I want to ask you some questions related to customers, because some people might be like, they might question like, okay, well, how do I deal with this customer? And I'm nervous about talking to a customer. So the next following questions, are regarding customers and how to deal with them. I've worked with amazing customers. I've worked with customers that I'm like, I wish I never met you. And that's just how it is. We're human beings. So, what is one issue, or what is one challenge that you would tell people to look out for when working with other business owners, right? So the question, I horribly phrased it, but I'll give you an example. So for me, what if I was to answer this question, it would be to make sure that when working with other business owners, you set the right expectations, right? When it comes to, for example, communication or collaboration. Oftentimes we start with a client and they feel like that they take 2 days or 3 days to get back to us, and it's like, no, this is not a one-way street. We need you to reply back to us, to let us know exactly like, is this approved, is this not approved, or basically be responsive when we're communicating with you, and then setting expectations. We've had clients where when we're doing paid ads, first 2 weeks they're like, well, we already spent 2,000 and we only generated 3,000. I'm not making any money. And it's like, look, you're a brand new brand. You've never spent money on ads. So you have to understand that this is how it's going to be, right? Within the first month, we're testing a lot of things. Month 2, month 3, hopefully it starts picking up. So this is what I guess that was my question, is like, what are some things that, agency owners need to look out for when, communicating with clients, or, business owners? And then my answer to that would be, like I said, expectations, communication. So what would be your thing to look out for when working with other business owners?
So the biggest thing is, like how you said, it's expectation. So in the beginning, the very first client that I signed, like I was so stoked. Like I was like, dude, like finally, like I made money online, So I did not set any expectations on how like work is gonna be, what kind of work we're gonna do, the results you can expect, and how long it's gonna take to expect. And this causes a lot of sort of like unnecessary questions, insecurities between the client, and some of them can get real annoying.
For
Like
sure.
this one client told me this one time, and I laughed out loud when I read this message, because we had been working like for 6 months already together. Like we multiplied her business, and then she's like, Cruz, I don't know about Facebook ads anymore. Like I don't like paying like set amount per month. And I'm like, why? Like we've literally 4x your business since we started. And she's like, if I can spend $1,000 and make $10,000 back, I'll consider it. And like I laughed out loud. I was
Oh my God.
that's
Yeah.
impossible. Like what you're asking me, like no one can get, like if someone can get this for you, like let me know. Like I want to talk to this person. I want to I want to work with him. Like it's just not reasonable. And a lot of these clients kind of like, they think it's like turning on a switch,
Yeah.
right? Like you just have to pay this person and magic's gonna happen and money's gonna start flowing in, and they're not gonna have to do any extra work. And that was my biggest mistake in the beginning, is not setting the right expectations, not telling them like, hey, um, and this leads me to my other client that would not bring me creatives. Like in the beginning, I didn't tell her like, hey, I need you to be on top of it. I need you to provide me with 3 to 5 creatives per week in order for this to work post iOS, 14.5. And it's just zero communication, and they don't get results. They're unhappy because like the ads aren't working, and it's like, well, you haven't really like done anything. And at part it's my fault, because I did not set the right expectations on how to do their part, because it's a partnership. it's
Correct.
it's it's a partnership between your clients and yourself. You guys are working together collectively to
Correct.
help their brand. And if you don't set the right expectations, like, damn, do I really want to keep doing this? Because is it always going to be like this?
Yeah, man, 100%. I think we both hit on the same thing, which is expectations. Because you know, people are risk averse, right? It's like I don't know what you charge for your services, but we charge anywhere between $2,500 to $3,500 a month, plus a percentage of revenue. So when people, when you tell people, okay, this is how much it's going to cost, already, they're paying you 2,500, and then they're already like, okay, I'm going to get 10. He's going to get 10% of the revenue that he generates me. 30 days passes by, you've only generated them, I don't know, $5,000. They already spent, 3,000 in ads. They spent another 2,500 for you. And now you're still going to get 10%. So right away they're like, oh my God, like, did I make the wrong decision? But if you explain it to them, from the beginning, right? Which is, look, you're a brand new brand, right? People don't even know about your brand. We have to test different creatives, test different ad copies, see what's working, and go from there. And the first month, there's going to be a lot of testing. Second month, hopefully it picks up. And then third month, this is what we expect. That right there, you're in a better position, because they're going to go ahead and message you and ask you why, they haven't generated X amount of dollars if you don't set that expectation. And the second thing you said is collaboration. It's making sure that, look, when you hire us, in order for this to work, we need you to be responsive to us. We need creatives, we need approvals, we need this, we need that. And I think for me personally, the latter was the one thing that I had a problem with a couple of my clients. And it was just like, look, man, like, I'm not going to be able to work with you. I'll refund you your money. But if you can't get us these creatives, then we can't work. We can't do this. If you can't spend an extra $2,000 a month on influencers to put together these creatives that we can use on TikTok or Instagram or whatnot, then we can't work together. So I think it's those two things are important, and then just understanding that it's okay to walk away. It's okay to walk away from a client who's not serving you in your best interest, or who's making your job harder. Because at the end of the day, Cruz, like I'm sure you understand, regardless of how much revenue you generate them, if you're working with someone and you're not looking forward to like those calls with them, then it really brings it brings you down. It brings your mood
Dude,
down.
it's
It brings
so
everyone
draining.
around you.
Yeah. And I think a good way to vet a good client from a bad client is how stingy they are with their money. Like it's understanding if they're not um like bringing in that much revenue. There's obviously that uncertainty. But dude, I spoke to this one prospect that was making like 150K a month, and I told them like, okay, this is how much I'm going to charge for my service, and she's like, oh no, like no, that's like way out of our budget. I'm like, dude, like if because the way that we phrase it is like we can bring you at least like a 20 to 30% more revenue,
Okay.
into your MMR or your
Mhm.
MRR. Like our service fee is like so insignificant considering to like how much money we're going to bring you in. Like we were
For
only like
sure.
charging 2K per month for this
Yeah.
service, and we'd be bringing in at least like 30K,
Yeah.
50K,
And there's
right?
no
And they're
ad
like, oh,
spend. So it's like
there's
there's
no
no
ad
ad spend.
spend.
You're
I
just spending
know.
money on what you're paying us.
And it's like, and I knew from that moment, like, oh, this person is gonna be such a pain to fucking deal with. Like I told her, like honestly, like if you're not willing to invest this much, which is a very insignificant, you're paying me to make you more money. Like I'm paying myself. Like I am paying myself through my
Wow.
service. Like you guys are not taking any money out of like what you guys are currently making. I'm basically paying myself through my service, and they didn't even want to do that. And like it's a good way to vet between a very terrible client from a good client.
100%, bro. 100%. I wanted to ask you something regarding this topic, which is, I spoke to Jordan, and I think this was off the call, but I believe he told me they charge a flat fee for their email marketing. um, but then they also charge a percentage of revenue, and this percentage is usually a little bit higher than 10% because essentially it's straight profits outside of cost of goods and services. Like there's no ad spend, so I think they charge like
Mm-hmm.
around 15. I also have another friend of mine, Imran, who's the founder of 187 Digital. He's an email marketing agency, and very much they have similar pricing. But is this something that you currently do, or do you plan on? Because obviously you don't do it for this specific person that you were talking about, but do you guys do that for other clients, or perhaps
So
clients in the future?
So we're still kind of working on a structure that works for us. There's some clients that we do a flat rate fee because it makes more sense for them, right? Like
Hmm.
some people are not willing to shell out like 10K, 15K, which whatever, I understand. But there's some clients that we do just like a straight performance fee because it
Hmm.
works for them. But we do we do request a setup fee to set up like their flows
Yeah.
or their sign up sheet and all this sort of stuff. But we do have a initial setup fee plus a performance fee for the most of the
Okay.
people that we work with. But we are looking towards shifting to just a flat rate fee just because it's more consistent, right? I
Makes
think,
sense. You probably
if
can
you
sign
if
more clients on that way because
Mhm.
if they look at, like, if let's say you and I are both pitching the same person, they'll be like, Cruz, I can pay him, let's say, $5,000 a month, and then MJ, if he's charging me 20% and he generates me 200,000, then that's $20,000. So they'll
Mhm.
probably go
Mhm.
with the person who's just charging a flat fee. Is that why you guys are thinking about going that route, or is it just more predictable?
Both, because it's like we want to be able to work with more high-end clients, more, companies making, seven figures.
Hmm.
And, in order to do so, we have to offer a flat rate fee because
Hmm.
like the numbers might be too big and it's like it digs into their profits. But
Correct.
and it's just more predictable, more like kind of like secure that way because you know how much you're gonna come in, that's gonna come in this month compared to like, oh, is it going to be like 50% less this month than it was last time, or is it going to be
Yeah.
way more? And it's just like so much just influx, so much insecurity. And, I think it's just better to offer that flat rate fee. That way we know how much we're pulling in and how much, we're paying our people. I think it's just easier to handle that way.
For sure. It's so much more structured. And I think, like you said, depending on how big the brand is, that's definitely something that we had an issue with. In 1 month, we generated a client a little over $450,000. And then once they, sent me once they actually paid the invoice, it was $45,000 that they paid us just in the 30-day period. They were like, listen, man, we're going to need to talk about this because I'm paying you a salary for like three, four, five people. So we had to go back to have a meeting, go back to the drawing board and figure out like, okay, if we generate you this much, then it's going to be this much percentage and we'll waive the monthly fee. And so I agree with you, man. Like once you start generating, clients big numbers, they'll definitely start guessing it because they're like, I can hire a full team.
A
And
full team
that's
with that.
that's us with ads. With you guys with email marketing, you could imagine with email marketing, if it's like 20-30% of the business, depending on how big the company is, you can easily generate someone, 200, 300, $400,000, especially like during holidays like Black Friday and whatnot. So I like that. I like that. I mean, yeah, I think that's a good idea. I mean, because right now, the way we have it structured is we're charging a percentage of revenue, just 10%. But perhaps, having a flat fee, it seems like it makes more sense, in the sense that it's pretty straightforward and client most likely will agree to it.
At the end of the day, it really depends on the clients you're working with, and it's just more scalable. Like we've noticed that it's very hard to scale at a very consistent rate if it's just based off of performance, because sometimes there's
Mhm.
slow months, sometimes you have exceptionally good
Yeah.
months like Black Friday, Christmas, or you have companies that are very seasonal, like like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day. There's companies that make very little money throughout the year, but once those months hit, it's like their Black Friday.
Makes
And
sense.
it's just
Yeah.
it's not very scalable if you just offer a percentage. It is nice though to see like that big, that big Stripe notification, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's not very scalable. So if scaling is what you is in everyone's mind, then I think offering a flat rate fee is much better.
Yeah. Agree with you, man. I agree with you. Perfect case in point. The best month that we've had was about $115,000, and that was during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And then the month right after, we went down to like 65,000. So you can imagine like your business, like you can imagine how I felt. I mean, even then, like $65,000 a month, it's still good, across five clients. But the month previous to that, we almost did 120,000. So, and that's just the result of Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So I agree with you.
Mhm.
It's more predictable. You don't have those huge swings, and you know exactly what to expect. Sign a new client, you know exactly what to expect the following month. Okay, Cruz, let's see. I have here a question that I really wanted to ask you was, how, okay, so what you just explained, I think is a perfect way to answer this, or at least one of the ways to answer it, which is how can an agency owner, help their churn rate? With people that
So
don't know what a churn rate, it's the rate at which customers stop doing business with an entity. So someone signs on with you as as a client. How do you keep them for 6 months, 12 months, rather than working with them for 1 month, 2 months, and then quitting, which is something that happens a lot with agency owners.
So for us, we have a really low churn rate. Like our clients stay on for a long time. And for one, is we already talked about this, but expectations is setting those expectations between you and the client, how you like to be communicated, how you expect them to communicate back with you, what they can expect from your service, and two is being first and foremost like really good at your service, right? Like
Mhm.
if you're good at your service, like people are gonna stay.
Makes sense.
But I think for us is we really like to vet our clients before we start working with them. So most of our clients become like our friends, right?
Mhm.
It's they're our friends, and you're less likely to say no to a friend than you are to like a stranger, right? So
Yeah.
you're more likely to continue to work with someone if you like that individual, if you like that person. And a lot of our clients have stayed on for 2, 3 plus years because like we've had so much good communication. Like
Correct.
um this one client of mine, which is actually the very first client I started working with. she actually gave me a shout out at her wedding.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Wow, to
so
that point.
yeah,
The
she
most
gave a shout
important day
out.
of her life. That's awesome.
She shouted me out. So
Wow.
if you build these really good relationships with your clients, because it's not like D2C where, you buy something online and that's where the relationship ends between you and the business owner or the business. You have to have like a relationship. I always kind of like tell my clients, like, this is a relationship. Like, you have to put in work. I have to put in work. We have to like meet in the middle, and it's a partnership. It's a relationship. Like, we both have to like come to an agreement and to an understanding for this to really work. And I think because of
Wow.
setting the right expectations, like a lot of our clients have just like stayed on for such a long time.
Yeah, I agree with you, bro. I mean, how building that relationship outside of work, even though you don't necessarily see them, but like, not just seeing them as a transaction. That's one thing that one of my clients,
Hmm.
who, she's became, a really good friend of mine. We've never met personally. It's obviously all been online, but she's been, really great, and she gives me advice on. She's a bit older than me, but she gives me advice on marriage, on family, like on all these different things. And one thing she said to me, she was like, why I will never work with anybody else, MJ. I was like, why? She said, you are the only person that doesn't see me as a transaction. She said, I get agency owners that pitch me all the time. I get vendors, all these different people just see me as a transaction. Obviously, you're here to make money as well, but like, you see me as an individual. You don't just see me as a transaction. And that's 100% to your point. It's like having that, building that relationship, understanding that, look, this is another human being, and I want to get them the best results so I could get the best results. But, there's been months where we didn't get the best results. And if we didn't have this relationship, they would have left us,
And they would have left you.
but
Hmm.
because they have that, because they know that you have their best interest, they're always going to be there. So that's a good answer. So I think that's definitely one way to help your churn rate. Now, how would because I this is a really important question, because I feel like, I know it's definitely something that I struggled with when I was starting out. But is there an what would be another way to help your churn rate? So outside of, I mean, I have some clients, they're just strictly business, they're like pretty professional, strictly business. They don't want to talk outside of work. How would you, you know, uh, help that churn rate? I think you hinted to it, which is really the main thing, which is be good at what you do. Because if you get them great results and you're good at what you do, then they have no reason to leave you. But let me word it a different way. What are some things that people do to actually have clients leave them? Perhaps that's a better way to word it.
Not be transparent. I feel
Nice.
like
Okay.
if you're not transparent or you try to make excuses for
Mm,
yourself, and you don't take accountability,
mm,
it comes and bites you in the ass. Like
wow.
sometimes you lie, or you kind of like try to make it not seem as serious, or whatever it may be. It will come back to you, and whether they find out the truth or whether something like happens, um, that's like a really solid way of just like you losing that client completely forever.
Wow.
Like, there's clients that leave and they come back. But if you leave off on a bad note and you're not transparent, like, hey, you know what? Like, I will be honest with you, we didn't have the best month. Like, and I take full accountability of this, whether you want to offer a sort of discount on your services. Like, I understand, like, we didn't perform the best and this is our fault. Um, a lot of people don't recommend this, but
Mhm.
sometimes as a business owner, I just kind of like take accountability for sometimes it was because of us, and I take the hit as a business owner. Like, I'll offer you a 25% discount on our service, I'll refund you this much. And a lot of the times they really appreciate that, and it has caused us to retain our clients for an additional 6 months. So while you might lose a small upfront like payment, um like, it lasts you a lot longer in the long run, right? Like, this client stays on for an additional 5 months, and it's just better. And I think just taking accountability, like, instead of like pointing fingers and being like, oh, it's because of this, it's because of that. I feel like that's a really good way of like kind of like shooting yourself in the foot. you know.
Wow, bro. Yeah, you couldn't have said it any better. And I mean, I have so many examples of situations like that that happened with me, but once I took, ownership of this is my problem, and this is not to say that you take the blame for things that your
Mm-mm.
client's problem.
Mm-mm.
It's just like you said, being transparent, you know. Uh, I think that's you couldn't have said it any better. Because that's definitely one thing that will let you clients leave you faster, very fast, which is not being transparent, not being straight up. Well, Cruz, I have one last question for you, bro. We've been on for a little over an hour. I enjoyed this, bro. I definitely I know we can go on for another hour easily, but
Probably, yeah.
for sure. My question to you, which is the ending question, this is really a question for business owners. Let's say there's someone out there listening to this who is looking to start with email marketing, SMS, or even paid ads, but they're on the verge of they need that push. They need that push, and the reason they haven't took action is because maybe they think it's gonna their money's gonna go to waste. Whether that is the fee that they pay you, or whether that is the money they spend on ads, or perhaps they've had bad experiences with other agencies, which is something that I'm sure you and I have both seen with clients that we've worked with. So, what would be your advice to get people over that hump to actually invest in email marketing, SMS to scale their business?
So this kind of goes into play with like me offering or hiring people onto the agency, because at first it was just myself, right? And then you get really good at your service, and you feel kind of like reluctant to share some of that responsibility to someone else because you don't know if they're going to do it as good as you. You don't know if they're going to get good results, and you don't know
Okay.
if you're just going to spend your money and waste it, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes you will. Sometimes you will pay someone that honestly did not perform a good job. But the only way to really grow as a business is if you find a team that has a collective interest in mind and you guys work together. And the moment you do something like that is when your business starts skyrocketing, because it's now more
Wow.
people manning the ship. It's more people working together to a collective goal. And for any business owners that are like on the fence of like, maybe they had a bad experience, which is gonna happen, right? It's gonna happen. But one bad apple shouldn't ruin the bunch. There's a lot of us out there that have your best interest in mind. And like the only way to really scale is if you hire someone that's really good, right? That's going to help you take your business to the next level. With email marketing, you're always going to get an ROI. Like you're always going to make money back because it's
Correct.
free. Like it's
Correct.
free money apart from like the service that you pay and like your Klaviyo fee or whatever. But you're always going to make an ROI. So I think it's just like just hire someone that has your best interest in mind for your business, and you're just gonna like you're gonna think back and be like, wow, why didn't I do this sooner? You know?
Perfectly said, bro. Let me add another question to that, which kind of goes hand in hand because, obviously you guys are doing email marketing and SMS. That's your main focus right now. Let's say I'm a brand new business owner. I have $5,000. Okay. $5,000 is what I can put aside every single month. Do I go and spend money on ads, or do I go and hire someone to do email marketing because I'm not doing it yet? And why?
So if you're a brand new business owner, like how long have you been in business for?
So let's say I've been in business for about a year, and I do have an email list.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
an email list. I've been in business for about a year. I have $5,000 a month set aside for the next 3 months. Should I spend that on paid ads, or should I spend that on hiring someone like yourself who's a Klaviyo expert and is able to generate me, recurring revenue from email marketing?
First, I would start off with email because you will 100% all the time get an ROI. Like you
Mm-hmm.
lose nothing by sending emails out there. And then you create this like reoccurring revenue that then you can put more aside for Facebook ads, which will bring brand new people to your store. But if you don't have a strong like client retention strategy, like these people are only going to purchase from your store once, right? If you don't have like an email marketing
Correct.
strategy, if you don't have a really good sign up form, right? These people will only purchase from you once. So you're losing thousands and thousands in potential sales by not having your email marketing set up. So I would start off 100% first with email marketing, get a strong foundation. That way, when you start sending brand new traffic to your company, you can capture as many leads as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And then these people can then come back, purchase at a later date for free. or they can, purchase 6, 7, 8 times in their lifetime, right? So it's just,
Perfect.
it's a no-brainer, really. Like
A
it's
100%, bro. 100%. And I'm the guy that preaches ads all the time. It makes sense. It makes sense. Like you have to have your email marketing in place. Especially this is why you asked me, like, do you have an email list? How long you've been in business? If you have an email list and you've been in business for 6 months to a year, you should get that dialed down first, because you're going to get people to buy more. And then instead of driving new traffic to the site without having your system built, you can go ahead and build the system, which is in this case the email marketing. That way, when you funnel in new traffic, everything is running smooth. So perfectly said, Cruz. Well, Cruz, really appreciate you, bro. I really appreciate you taking the time to record this. Obviously, we're going to have your Instagram here, somewhere here on the screen. People will be able to follow you on Instagram. But I'm curious, is there anywhere that you would like people to follow up with you and see what you are doing? Maybe Twitter, website, or anything?
I don't post much on Twitter. I need to start. That's one of the things that I'm just kind of like in the shadow, just like looking at other
Yes,
people. But
I like that.
um Instagram, follow me on Instagram. If anyone has any questions regarding like, hey, I heard you on, the podcast, like what advice would you give me? Hit me up on Instagram. More likely reply there. So
Awesome, awesome. Well, Cruz, again, I really appreciate it, brother. Hopefully we can do this again, maybe in 3 months,
yeah,
6 months
dude.
or so.
Yeah. I'll be more than happy to come back for a second episode.
Awesome, Cruz. Take care, bro. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.
All right, cheers.